Aaron, I'm super bummed out
Why?
because I don't have a date for Valentine's Day tomorrow, and I really want to go to the basketball game.
Well, why don't you go find you a man?
On campus?
Yeah, there's plenty of them around here.
I'm really nervous to do that by myself. Will you come with me?
All right, let's do it. Pucker up, see you. Excuse me, sir. This Valentine's Day, could you please not go breaking my heart?
That was clever.
Excuse me. I was just wondering, when's the last time you had a kiss? Because I was hoping mine would be this Sunday.
Oh, thanks.
Excuse me. Are you busy this Sunday? Because you might want to watch out. I'm a heartbreaker.
You're a heartbreaker? What's up, Drew?
Hey, Buff fans, I'm Allie Monroy, and sitting next to me is my good friend Aaron Sullivan.
And tonight is Allie's very first time on the desk. Must be your lucky day considering all the luck you had before the show.
What luck are you talking about?
Oh, you know.
Okay, I know I chickened out, but honestly, who could say no to the pickup lines you had? You killed it.
Yeah, they were pretty great.
Hopefully I'll have some better luck during the show because I'm kind of nervous.
No nerves needed, Allie. We have a great show ahead of ourselves.
Let's get into it then. The Buffs got things going with a big Wes Gordon slam dunk. Took a look at that one. Perfect form. Gordon kept up his solid post play with a floater from the block. George King had a good all-around game on the both ends. Look at that ferocious defense. Dom Collier heads to the basket with an acrobatic up and under 4-2.
Xavier Talton keeps up the top guard play, splitting the D and taking it coast to coast. 40 minutes wasn't enough to basketball. The game headed to overtime. The Buffs and the Cougs went back and forth. But with time winding down, the Buffs are trailing behind by 3. George King knocks down a wild three-pointer and sends the game into double-time OT. Nice. Colorado would take care of business in the second overtime, coming away with an 88-81 victory. Good work, boys. Coming off that exciting win, head coach Tad Boyle addressed the media on a continuing problem with the CU team, was thankfully able to recover from.
Grit says something about their toughness. Tonight we're without, 1.5 starters basically, right, with Josh and Fletch, and we battle and we win a game that, we didn't play our best in, and we're shorthanded, and this is 3 years in a row we've lost our best player. Now Josh isn't out for the year, thank God, but it's when you lose your best player this time of year for a game like this, it throws a wrinkle into things, and our guys I thought handled it for the most part very well.
A lot of guys at big minutes.
Men's basketball plays the Washington Huskies on Saturday for the second time this year. Unfortunately, the last time we faced the Huskies, the team had a disappointing loss with a score of 95-83. Many things went wrong that game, but I have 3 key tips that I believe the Buffs need to work on to get that win this time around. Tip number 1, start the game off strong. The reason why I say this is because the Buffs did not play well at all during the first half last time we played the Huskies. They turned the ball over 12 times and dug a 14-point hole for themselves that was very hard to come out of. Tip number 2, be sure to watch out for Andrew Andrews, who is the team's senior guard. He caused quite a problem last game. And tip number 3 is rebounds. The Buffs were out-rebounded by the Huskies, who were 12th in the Pac-12 in rebounding margin at the time, when the Buffs were 2nd. I hope we see a win against the Washington Huskies this time around.
February is the national month in which our country honors its Black history. Last night, the CU men's basketball team did just that during the pregame against Washington State. Colorado honored prominent African Americans in the history of the United States. The Buffs also recognized over 150 student athletes who achieved a 3.0 GPA or higher at halftime.
For the men's basketball game on Saturday against Washington, Colorado is offering fans a $30 Friends Day Out package. The price of admission is good for your reserved ticket, a hot dog, and a soda. Another plus is that Boulder Humane Society will be featured on the concourse with puppies and kittens. Who doesn't love puppies and kittens? That is not all, though. After the game, the team will be hosting an autograph session for the fans.
It's trivia time. This week on Double Team, Bobby Galen quizzed some fellow Buffs on their b-ball knowledge.
Hello and welcome everyone to another edition of Double Team. I'm Bobby Galen and today we're joined by Christine Lambert and Tanner Bergamo. Today's topic is men's basketball. So with the first question, given that Washington State's coming into Colorado with a 9-game losing streak, should CU expect this to be an easy win?
Honestly, I don't think CU can ever expect an easy win. That's where they really get into trouble, is when they do expect that easy win and then they don't play to their full extent. We did win against Washington State last January, just a few weeks ago, 75-70, which is not that great of a win. So I think we're going to have to really play hard. Also, Coach Boyle has been insisting that Washington State is tough competition for the Buffs.
Tanner, what's your viewpoint on this?
Yeah, I agree. Like she said, 5 points, that's not a big victory. So they're going to have to go out, play hard, just as they always do. And I mean, if you look at college basketball this year, really, people are beating everybody. Like the top 25 is changing every single week. And so I think it's very apparent that anyone could beat anyone in this season of basketball for sure.
Understandable. So with CU's current record of 17-7, how do you think this year's compared to past years?
I think it's much better in terms of how they play as a unit. Like everyone is playing their part. You've got Dom Collier, Josh Fortune, George King. They're all playing a part. Like Josh Scott is the vocal point, but everyone else is like contributing. And I think in years past, we've kind of got stuck on one guy. And that one guy was the person we counted on every time. But now we have a little more to work with. That's definitely nice.
Very true. And just to give some perspective, last year at this time in the season, we had already lost 12 games. And we'd won 12 games, but not a very good record. So we're doing much better than that. And like Tanner said, I think this year they're being a lot more compatible together. And Coach Boyle has also recruited a lot of good players. So that also is helping out with this season coming together.
So talking about key players, Josh Scott is questionable against Washington State this week. So do you think Coach Boyle should rely on his key scorers or should he rely on the bench?
Honestly, I don't think it's a really good idea right now to bring in bench players. We have a lot of key games left, and especially coming off of 2 losses against Oregon and Oregon State these past couple weeks, it's really important that we win this game, especially for the confidence of the Buffs in order to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. The schedule only gets harder from here, so this is a must-win. So you got to go with your big guns. If the game flow is going well, then maybe you can sit some of them down, let the bench guys get in. But, I mean, really, you got to win this one before you win the others. So I'd say you go all out and then see what happens.
Yeah, no, I totally understand you. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. My name is Bobby Galen. This is Christine and Tanner. We'll see you guys next time on Double Team.
The Detroit Pistons honored Chauncey Billups by retiring his jersey number during halftime at the game against the Nuggets this Wednesday. His number 1 jersey was hung above the rafters at the Palace of Auburn Hills. During the ceremony, Billups is a former Colorado All-American and was the NBA Finals Most Valuable Player in 2004. In his 1996-97 season as a CU Buff, he led his team to a 22-10 record, a second-place finish in the Pac-12, and CU's first NCAA tournament appearance in 28 years.
With Single Awareness Day coming up, we have a trivia question that goes right along with awkward dates and asking people you don't know to be your Valentine. This week's question is, when was the kiss cam first used at a sporting event? Let's be honest, we've all seen some strange kiss cams here and there. But who was the first one to say, hey, let's try and get random people in the stands to kiss in front of thousands of other people? We will have the answer coming up later in the show. Take a lap around the house if you need, but make sure your pace is brisk enough to be back in time for Buff Banner.
And I know you've all been anticipating who this week's Athletes of the Week are. It's coming up after the break.
Mom!
What?
You can't find Ichabod.
What?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, how was your weekend? Oh, have you studied for jogging? Oh, yeah.
Pay attention. It matters.
He seemed fine to me.
I thought he would just sleep it off.
I didn't think he was that bad.
I had no idea he was taking prescription drugs.
He only drank as much as me. I was fine.
We didn't want to get in trouble.
I thought this kind of thing happened all the time.
I thought someone else was taking care of him. If I would have called.
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 If I would have just called.
I'd still be alive.
Oh my god. What is she thinking? Her hair? Ew.
No one likes you.
No wonder you don't have any friends.
You're so ugly and
Ew,
fat.
is she really wearing that?
Wow.
She's so weird. Who wears that? That is so gross.
Oh, wow.
Seriously? The CU women's tennis team came up short against Kansas on Sunday, being defeated by the Jayhawks 4-1. Despite the loss, head coach Nicole Keenly was pleased with the women's effort for the weekend. She saw her players improving and truly compete against two very strong teams on their road weekend trip. Tine Boka, a player originally from Russia, won her 6th consecutive singles match through an impressive comeback in the third. Be sure to tune in and watch the comeback next Saturday against Tulane.
Colorado Tennis now has 2 players who have been ranked in the Intercollegiate Tennis Association. This is the first time CU has had 2 players ranked at the same time since 2010. The 2 talents are Tina Buka at number 42 and Nuri Armea Ruiz at number 115. Buka is only a sophomore and has posted an outstanding record of 11-5 and is 4-2 against nationally ranked opponents. Ruiz is a junior from Spain and has also had an excellent season with a 15-4 overall score. The two have teamed up to make CU's #1 doubles pair.
Who's in the mood to banter, and even better, to banter about some tennis? Sports Mag's Audrey Rodriguez sure is on this week's edition of Buff Banter.
Hey Buff fans, my name is Audrey Rodriguez and this is Buff Banner. This week in CU women's tennis, Colorado now has 2 players ranked in the Intercollegiate Tennis Association national rankings for the first time since 2010. Tina Bokua, a sophomore from Russia, jumped into this week's rankings at number 42, and Nuria Ruiz, a junior from Spain, came in at number 115. This dynamic duo has also teamed up as CU's #1 doubles tennis pair. Seems as if these two are unstoppable. Last Friday in Manhattan, Kansas, Colorado was just 1 match away from a team win after 3 long matches, but unable to hold as Kansas State rallied for a 4-3 win over the Buffaloes. On Sunday, the girls then traveled to Lawrence, Kansas to compete against the Jayhawks at Jayhawks Tennis Center. Colorado's bid for an upset of undefeated Kansas came up just short as the Jayhawks defeated CU 4-1. This marks the second setback for the weekend for the Buffaloes. However, head coach Nicole Keenly was pleased with the team effort, saying, "It is important that we're getting better each match. That is what we need to continue to see." Keenly said, "If we see that good things are going to happen, the Buffaloes will be back in action Friday, trying to redeem themselves against the 2 losses in Kansas." Well, I sure have hope for the tennis team. They're going to do great this Friday in Northern Colorado. My name is Audrey Rodriguez. This is Buff Banner, CU Sports Mag.
Last Friday, the CU men and women's track and field teams competed at the Frank Savine Husker Invitational. Colorado senior Aubriana Torres finished 11th in the pentathlon. She started the day finishing the 60-meter hurdles, finishing 14th with a 9.11 second finish. At the high jump, she landed in 11th place and ended the day with a 3rd place finish at her best event, the shot put. Andrew Gazzone ended his first day of the heptathlon in 11th place. He had his personal best throw in the shot put and finished 8th in the high jump.
University of Colorado sophomore Andrew Gazzone competed in the Frank Savine Husker Invitational last Saturday. He finished the heptathlon with back-to-back wins in the final 2 events to get him in 5th place overall. Gazzone kicked off the day winning his heat in the 60-meter hurdles. He tied for first in the pole vault after clearing 15 feet and 9 inches. Gazzone finished the meet with a time of 2 hours and 39 minutes and 6 seconds in the 1,000-meter race. Our track and field team will be back this weekend competing in Seattle and Albuquerque. And congrats again, Andrew Gazzone. You go, Andrew. You go.
And now for this week's Athletes of the Week. No drum roll needed. Our picks are Andrew Gazzone of men's track and field and Janine Daniel of women's tennis. Daniel had a very close and intense singles match last weekend against Kansas. She finished 7-6 and 6-4, falling with a break short in the second set. Daniel is currently ranked 3rd on the team behind 2 stars, but is only a sophomore and her talents are rising quickly. Gazzone is also only a sophomore, but has proven himself a vital aspect to his team. He has a great ability to remain calm in competition and score major points for the Buffs during crucial multi-events.
Do you like golf? Better yet, do you like golf players? Me too! So don't miss our update on them after the break.
Also coming up, you'll get a little taste of what the upcoming season of men's lacrosse is going to look like.
This is a family that was almost fed by neighbors who almost volunteered to help them out. Almost volunteered. When it comes to giving, almost doesn't count.
How you doing? I just want regular, no sugar today.
You got it.
Thanks. Hello.
Hi.
Did you eat that whole thing today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi,
how you doing? She's getting big, huh?
Good. Yeah, she is big. Great haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks cute. Come on, let's go. Nice to see you. Thanks a lot.
If only child abuse were this easy to recognize. If you even suspect abuse, call 1-800-4-A-CHILD. All calls are anonymous and confidential. Trust your instincts.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Nutrition can lead to great things. Find out how a healthy lifestyle can help your child succeed.
With 2 impressive seasons cradled away, the CU women's lacrosse team is opening into their 3rd season literally as I speak. Their first game of the season is against Denver and started just about an hour ago. DU is a big game for the women. Last year, the Buffs were in the lead at half, but let the Pioneers come back for a 10-6 win. The women's have a 22-15 record for their first 2 years as a startup program, with 28 returning players on the squad of 34. Head coach Ann Elliott aims to take the team to the NCAA championships.
The men's lacrosse team is also about to begin their season in a couple weeks. Tanner Bergamo tells us how the men will come back with a competitive edge this spring.
Losing a national championship is never the way you want your season to end, but the way a team responds in the offseason sets the tone to battle through another year just to have a chance to make it back. Championship games are a familiar opportunity for the University of Colorado. The Buffs have claimed 2 conference titles and a national championship in the last 2 years, but fell just short in a narrow loss to Grand Canyon University in last year's title game. 9 months later, the Buffs are gearing up for another run to the MCLA National Championship. The offseason doesn't come without some growing pains, as Colorado lost 5 of their top leading scorers to graduation and returned a much younger team than in years past. Longstick midfielder Clark Salami recognizes the team youth, but says this group knows what it takes to be a premier team in the league.
This team is definitely different in its own way. We got a lot of young guys, but I'd say we're really gelling at this point and coming together. Guys are growing up really quick, and it's looking good.
As the MCLA enters its 20th year, this season promises to be more competitive than ever. The Buffs know every game is going to be a challenge in a league where anyone can beat anyone. Head coach John Galvin is entering his 7th season with the Buffs and remains focused on an all-too-familiar concept, the process. Coach Galvin preaches team mentality, group discipline, and top-notch chemistry among his players, and has earned the reputation as one of the league's top coaches. For Coach Galvin, though, every fall is a new beginning, removed of any past success or failure.
I think we just really need to get back to our basics and relearn maybe what we learned in the fall and continue on just a path of getting better and being able to be competitive at that point in time. And hopefully we will be. But that's something that we're going to have to, we'll see when we get there.
Colorado will kick off the season in 2 weeks when they travel to Arizona to take on the defending national champions, Grand Canyon University. For now, though, the Buffs will concentrate on getting better every day. For CU Sports Mag, I'm Tanner Bergamo.
Last Saturday, the men's golf team finished 11th at the University of Hawaii Halo's Amir Ari Invitational. Pac-12 conference teams dominated the leaderboards, with 6 Pac-12 schools finishing in the top 7. Their Buffs record their second straight 4-under, 284 score to put them at an even par with a total of 864 for 3 rounds. The Buffaloes made a huge comeback during the last 18 holes of the match. They rebounded from being in a tie from 17th place to finishing 11th. The Buffs managed to stay under par for 2 straight rounds during the tournament. I'd say it was a sunny day in Hawaii for the Buffs.
Just about a year ago, Jim Leavitt walked onto spring drills and started his career as defense coordinator. Preparing for his 2nd season, Leavitt has a lot to deal with this spring, not to mention inheriting a defense that finished at the near bottom of every major statistical category last season. But despite the rough start, the Buffs took significant strides. CU moved from 116th in the nation in 2014 to 70th in 2015. The 11.5 point per game improvement was the 5th best in the nation. It looks like things may be heating up for this spring. It's going to be a good offseason for the Buffs.
Huge surprise! CU has a new recruiting coordinator, and his name is Darren Chiaverini. Coach Chiaverini has a 2016 recruiting class signed, sealed, and delivered, and now has his attention focused on the 2017 recruiting class. Chiaverini believes social media is the key to recruiting the next generation of athletes. He stated, "It's important we have a huge presence on social media." And that's how Coach Chiaverini is getting a jump start on CU's 2007 recruitment. So keep checking social media because you may be CU's next recruit.
Who do you think SportsMag has selected for the Tweet of the Week?
Stay tuned. It could very well be you. Stay tuned till the end of the show.
They'll go away.
Yeah, just like
It's a great day, isn't it?
Yeah. Too bad your boat's gonna sink at 11:05.
Don't come closer. I have rabies. Don't you wish there were warnings to protect you from life's risks? With diabetes, there is one. It's called A1C, a simple blood test that helps measure your risk of serious complications. Learn more at diabetesaonc.org.
Hey, how's it going?
Sir, are you okay?
What? Oh, this? It's probably nothing. I'm sure it'll go away.
Go away? But, sir, that can't be good.
No, it's cool, really.
Do you want a napkin or something?
Everything's fine. Thanks.
You wouldn't ignore this. So why ignore the signs of a stroke? At the first warning signs, call 911 immediately. Because time lost is brain lost.
This house was almost saved.
from a fire that was almost put out, by neighbors who almost volunteered. As generous a nation as we are, sometimes instead of giving, we almost give. But almost giving is the same as not giving at all.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a
One
dad
more
today.
time. Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
So, it's not a Valentine's Day show without us giving you some information on how to make it special for your certain someone. Luckily, if you live in the Boulder area, you can buff out your Valentine's Day with the Chip Flower Delivery Service. On Friday and Saturday, you can have flowers delivered by the one and only Chip mascot. Prices range from $40 for a mixed bouquet to $70 for a dozen roses. Flower delivery is limited to Boulder County and cannot be delivered on CU's campus. If you want to deliver the flowers yourself, you can purchase roses from Chip outside Folsom Field from noon to 2. Quantities are limited, so make sure you don't miss out on making this Valentine's Day special the Buff way.
Get those thermometers ready because it's about to get hot. The Heartbreak Kid Joe Paris is back and is here to give you exactly what you want. Take it away, HBK.
Bienvenue et Rapid Fuego. Je suis Joe Paris. Here's what's going on in this week's Colorado sports schedule. Colorado lacrosse kicks off their season against the University of Denver Friday afternoon down at Peter Barton Stadium in Denver. The Pioneers will be a tough test for Coach Elliott's squad, but the Buffs are a year older and looked fantastic in preseason. Good luck. Women's golf tees off at the Peg Barnard Stanford Invitational Saturday afternoon at the beautiful Stanford Golf Course. Colorado will have a chance to jump up in the rankings after being named 6th in the Pac-12 preview. The men's basketball team will look to continue their winning ways against the Huskies from Washington on Saturday afternoon. Go cheer on your Buffs at the Coors Event Center. The team only has 3 remaining home games, so go. And finally, if you LOVE basketball, grab your significant other for some Pac-12 and chill when the women's team takes on Oregon in the St. Valentine's Day Classic Sunday at noon. I have no plans, so hit me up. My phone number is 303-8675-309. All right, back to Allie and Aaron to wrap this thing up.
Thanks, Joe. As we wrap up our Valentine's Day show, it's time for the answer to the trivia question of the week. The question this week was about the awkward encounter that is the kiss cam. We asked, when was the first kiss cam used at a sporting event? And the answer is 1980, right when the Jumbotrons first started to pop up in stadiums. Bonus points for the question if you know what sport they started in. It was baseball stadiums. Come back next week and try your luck at the next trivia question.
Our tweet of the week comes from our favorite Buffalo, good old Chip. I think he was feeling a little romantic and in the Valentine's Day spirit when he tweeted, "What did the Valentine's Day card say to the stamp? Stick with me and you'll go places." Well, Chip, I would definitely stay with you, especially since you get to go to all of CU's sporting events. That's probably the best, not to mention we all know you have a killer bod.
Well, Buff fans, we've loved having your eyes on our faces today, and we certainly hope it'll happen again next week.
Celebrate some love this weekend, whatever that 4-letter word means to you at this point in your life.
Signing off from the CU Boulder studio, I'm Aaron Sullivan.
And I'm Allie Monroy. Have a great night, Buff fans.